Olasegun.
Alright man, peace. So to continue off from my segment of last request, I kind of wanted to make this video a little bit more special in talking to directly about Black Americans. Because I find that a lot of times on this whole election, what they've tried to do and, the thing that they're trying to pitch and constitute towards Black Americans, more so Black men, is painting this wrongful narrative and gaslighting the ever-loving shit out of Black Americans for the Kamala Harris campaign. Because this was also about proliferating the so-called Black woman or the mother goddess archetype, which was tread upon Kamala Harris, regardless of her predatory convictions and doing things that wasn't for the American public. And again, a lot of people toting about how she is not fit to be president, also about her race, her heritage, and all these different things. No matter how many times so-called Black men have sat up there and said, I just don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, we were shamed, blamed, and explained to SBE about how we're wrong for having that decision. Even to the point, you had people like D.L. Hughley in their ever-loving attempt of trying to connect with a Black American man, that you gotta vote in this election by pulling BET, which is a corporation that's not even owned by a Black American man anymore, it's owned by a white person, for them to have the discussion with Black American men about all these different topics. Stay tuned for that video and what I'm going to think about that commentary. I'll probably just do a commentary on it for the whole entire day to run a marathon about the campaign, since it's going to be election day. And by no means, my whole entire content is going to be made to persuade you to vote for someone like Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. That's not what that's about. It's mainly about getting at the unfair advantages that the American public started to do towards the so-called Black American man, because it's that energy harvesting of gaslighting Black men to pull them into place. Such as I agree with a content creator that shared my video before, that this is a spiritual warfare towards so-called Black men in order to have the so-called Black man not to have a free thought state of mind and to think for himself. Therefore, being behind the Democratic Party, or because he believes, or they make you believe, that the Black American man needs to be behind the Black woman when it comes to the Democratic Party, that is the reason why the Black American is made an example of. Because that shit isn't pulled on white men when it comes to white women. But when it comes to Black men, all of a sudden we're wrong. And even with that, Black women is coming out the woodwork saying we ain't voting for Kamala Harris. And again, this is not about trying to persuade people who to vote for. I just see the inconsistencies with the Democratic Party of trying to say someone is wrong and trying to make their race a factor in the conversation, instead of saying, well, you don't believe in this, that, and the third person because of their politics, you're just stupid, or I don't agree with your opinion because of A, B, and C, all the way to Z. You understand? So, when we have these conversations about politics this, politics that, again, my opinion goes to the same thing about Black Americans. You're not going to try to blame Black men all because we have a different state of opinion, different mindset on all these stupid ass ways that they try to do it, such as these boule workings with a lot of these Black celebrities where they use things like, I don't know, the example of saying, why would you not want to vote for Kamala Harris? You don't love your mother? You don't love your sister? She's just like one of us. No, she's not. No, she's not. And this is the working of the boule. This is working of black politicians trying to come together in which they believe this grandiose bullshit idea that it's going to pull Americans together, or black Americans together, by voting for someone black. Even having Barack Obama going out the woodworks, who's probably funding the shit out of this campaign so that they could put Kamala Harris as a mother goddess archetype that's running America, which will be the fall of America. See, everything happens in time. So it wouldn't surprise me if they say that Kamala Harris is to get selected, not elected, that this would go along with the whole entire presence of the mother goddess archetype. That's just how it is. That's the name of the game. That's exactly how they want to do things and how they want to reach people. It doesn't matter about the things that she did. It doesn't matter about all the slithering serpent energy that she has as a presidential candidate. It's all about trying to get black men to step in line, because if a black man has free thought and free will, he's a problem. You understand? And with that being said, they're not really trying to target the black woman on this. They're mainly trying to target the black man. So he's not capable of having a meaningful relationship. He's not capable of having fantastic sex. He's not capable of being honored. He's not taken seriously, and he's supposed to be he's a coon, and he's all these different things because he refuses to stay within the quote-unquote black plantation. That's what I see out of this whole entire election year ever since they propagated Kamala Harris as being the presidential candidate for the race. Why is it that when it came to Kamala Harris, they had that energy, but they didn't have the same energy for Cornel West, who was a black man that ran under the independent party or third party? Why did no one sit up there and say, well, if you ain't going to vote for Cornel West, you're a coon. You against your black people. You don't want to see a black person will. And that was a black man. Now, let's flip the tables. If it was a black woman running for the independent party, would it be the same energy then? Would you be anti-women or anti-black woman then if it was a black woman running for the independent party? Because at the end of the day, you know what matters and what everybody gives a shit about? Democrats versus Republicans. Name one time in history we ever had an independent party winner. I can't name any. Besides you talking about Federalists and the other parties out there, but that was before the Republicans and Democrats was even thought of. You understand? So with that being said, my reflections about this time and now in its election year was mainly always trying to give my opinions about how they treated black men and how they've made it their voice and opinion to basically shame black men for not wanting to go for Kamala Harris, and therefore saying that black men are racist for going for someone like Donald Trump. Black men have lost their minds. Black men don't love their mothers. Black men don't love black women. And black men don't love their own people. They'll sell their people out for a white man and white supremacy and all this dumb, stupid, woke shit that is always aligned with PTSD from slavery. Even though the present day black American has never been in slavery, has never dealt with slavery, can't give you an experience about slavery, but will always use slavery as a talking point and a major headstone on having a conversation on why the black American man needs to get in line and still vote for a woman who allegedly is not so-called black. Now, I understand this is more of a cartoonish, animated type of recording that I'm doing for you guys tonight. And again, like I told you, the update that I'm having is, which I'm probably going to do, is that I'll run a marathon of videos on my main channel in which you'll be able to have a front row seat of me giving my opinions about the black boule at work. And again, it's not about trying to shame black people for voting for Kamala Harris. It's mainly getting at the fact that black men have had enough of being toyed with from the Biden administrations, which I've done tons of videos about how they tried to use dating apps of weaponizing the black woman against the black man. So therefore, if a black man wants to date and he wants to have a relationship, especially with a black woman. Well, if you don't vote for Joe Biden in that case, it's no voting, no fucking, right? And with that being said, it was made to feel like vagina was weaponized against the black man, and also dating is weaponized against the black man. So with the dating app, it was basically made to say, well, I can't go for someone who's not going to vote for the Democratic Party or whoever the candidate was. And then especially you knowing it's a spit in your face as a black American when Joe Biden directly says to you, you not black if you don't vote for me, right? And this was said on television, then with nobody but the snake himself, Charlemagne the God. Okay? That's what happens. Secondly, the no voting, no fucking case, a gay black man being a gatekeeper and not really being a middleman, but a Trojan horse before black women and saying, well, if you ain't voting, well, you can't fuck. And you can't fuck black women. And it reminds me of the tactics that they use in the movie Chirac, which is a Spike Lee classic of 2015, in which they basically weaponize pussy from the black man in order for him to stop fighting and stop getting into these reckless gang wars in Chirac, in Chicago. Nick Cannon as being one of the protagonists in the film and all that other stuff, and they're doing that in order to appease the black man, which subliminally says about how the black man's consciousness is, that the black man can't live without sex, that he cares about sex too much. So having the black woman pull over the strings and say, well, you can't have sex with me unless you do what I have to say, it's gaining more control towards the black woman on controlling the black man, which therefore the black man has to subdue himself towards the black woman to get his desires met. Excuse me for that. I was going to say fetish, but that's the wrong word. So continue on freestyling this topic. It reminds me of that film, the connections of how you can make Chirac to the present day election that's been happening for the last 4 years, first with Joe Biden and now with Kamala Harris, in which the Democratic Party is really playing on the hamstrings of black American men, which is not okay. This is something I always say. I have not seen this with the Trump campaign. However, I did think it was very questionable when Trump wanted to go ahead and advertise gold sneakers and make it a selling point towards black American men, which is something I directly disagreed with. To basically denote the fact that black man cares about vanity more so than he cares about the issues that's happening in America, which I didn't think was okay. So that's one thing from the Donald Trump campaign that I didn't like, or the Republican campaign I didn't like. Why didn't you try to advertise more so about the gold bars that you were selling towards the black community to endorse the black man to get more involved with the economical advantages he could have by investing in gold and having a gold bar that he can go ahead and have in the economy, because we understand that gold is important, instead of having the reserve note, which is usually dying out in this time period. In fact, the matter is, and when it comes to America, that they're using recycled dollars and printing out dollars since the pandemic as a way to still hold up on the whole entire thing of the economy, even though they claim all this $1 trillion deficit stuff, but they're still printing out money from the pandemic, right? That's first and foremost. So I didn't agree with that when it came to Trump. We're not these vanity guys. We don't always care about fashion. We don't always care about what's the sneakers on our feet and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure Donald Trump would do the maniacal thing of trying to team up with Michael Jordan somehow and sell some gold edition Jordans, because it would feed on the ego of black men. And I'm pretty sure it would sell. It would sell. But the last thing I want to say is, besides the the 2 points that I made, was weaponizing the black woman against the black man, which they've done incessantly during this campaign. And secondly, Donald Trump trying to appeal to black men, but using the angle of using vanity to appeal to black men, which was not okay. But mainly more of the issues of the Democratic Party using black women all around to shame black men and black men themselves. Shaming of the black men for not wanting to vote for Kamala Harris. and stupid ass black women that get online and say stupid shit like, oh, well, you mad because you can't have her number. And that has nothing to do with Kamala Harris, about why black men don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. That's her fault. Last things to say on this whole entire thing of the election year, this particularly being geared towards black Americans, in which I always say I'm not a proponent of telling you who to vote for. Whether you vote for Kamala Harris or you vote for Donald Trump is your business. But the thing that I wanted to point at, because it does seem like my viewpoints would be usually towards anti-Kamala Harris, it's not the fact of the matter that I'm primarily against Kamala Harris. It's mainly the fact of what the Democratic Party has done, and then people in everyday conversations shaming black men for having their opinions about who they want to vote for. If it was the same thing that was happening on Trump's side, and you have a lot of people from the black community that sat there and said, well, you want to vote for Kamala Harris and da-da-da-da, this, that, and the third, you black men are sick because of A to Z, I'd call it out. But so far, what it's been seen in a lot of these campaigns is usually Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris. And the Democratic Party shaming black men because of that. And then using all these tropes of saying that you're anti-woman, you're anti-black, you're against your own people. A lot of the different things that happen within the free consciousness of the black man, in which we have an understanding and we agree that we see now that it's nothing wrong with being opinionated. There's nothing wrong with being more into politics and wanting to see your country thrive and grow. Even if you are on that surface level, me being at a certain threshold where I have an understanding this is all a show. This is all just not the land of make-believe, but they know exactly how they want things to go. You know what I'm saying? And it's not really up to our votes. It's really up to who they want selected to be in this presidential, how they want the narrative to go for America, the fall of America, or the demise of America, and however they want to see fit. But otherwise than that, I don't think I have any more thoughts on this. As I said before, thank you for tuning in to The Last Request, this election year reflection part 2. The plan is now, make sure you tune into my main page on YouTube, where I'll be doing a marathon of videos throughout the whole day tomorrow, so you guys can take a look at all the videos that are produced and the content that's going to be out there, in which I'm just going to just be talking briefly about things, about, you know, the boule and the boule workings and all this other stuff. It's going to still be compilations of videos on that. And there'll be some other videos that's going to come out during the week. So make sure you tune into that. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this content. I'm dropping this shit for free. Make sure you like this joint. Peace.